There are steps the whole world can hear, and there are steps only you can feel, yet they change everything. Mine was silent, but it was final. When I slung the bag over my shoulder and walked past him, the house seemed to shrink behind me as if that place had been designed to keep me small. But I no longer fit there. My body no longer followed the same script. My soul no longer bowed to the same fear. I walked down the hallway slowly, not because I was hesitating, but because I wanted to feel every second of that moment. Every breath, every heartbeat, every particle of courage my feet summoned to keep going. The dim light of the living room illuminated the path to the door. A door that for years had been a symbol of prison and was now a symbol of return. I heard his footsteps behind me, fast, desperate. It was curious. My steps were slow. His were urgent, as if he knew he was losing something he believed he could own forever. "You're not leaving," he said, his voice trembling beneath the surface of control. I kept walking. "I'm not done talking to you." I kept walking. "You'll come back." And still, I kept walking. I reached the door. The same door that had watched me tremble inside so many times. The same door that had seen me return after empty promises, manipulative apologies, and forgiveness that was never real. I touched the handle. It was cold, but my hand was warm, alive, decided. He grabbed my arm. For the last time, and for the first time, I felt nothing. It didn't hurt. It didn't trap me. It didn't control me. I slowly turned my face, looked at his hand, then at his eyes, and I said, with the calm of someone who no longer needs to justify anything, "Let go." He hesitated for a second, a long second, a second filled with everything he feared, and then he let go. Not because he wanted to, but because he realized holding on would make no difference. I was already on the other side of him, even before opening the door. I turned the handle, and as I did, I heard a low, metallic sound, the click of the lock. That sound had never meant anything to me before, but that night it meant everything. I opened the door. The street was dark, but it was a different kind of darkness than the one inside the house. It wasn't suffocating. It wasn't threatening. It was open. The cold night wind touched my face, and my entire body understood. I am leaving. I am walking away. I am choosing myself. Behind me, he said, "You'll come back." I stopped at the threshold. I didn't turn around. I didn't let my soul retreat even an inch. And I answered, "Never again." 3 seconds passed. 3 seconds that shaped my entire life. And then I made the movement that sealed my rebirth. I took the first step outside. That step carried the weight of every step I hadn't taken for years. The weight of every night I cried in silence. Of every apology I swallowed. Of every fear I carried alone. Of every version of me he tried to destroy. But more than weight, it carried lightness. A lightness I hadn't felt for so long, I almost didn't recognize it. My body felt like it was floating and, at the same time, rooting itself into the right ground. The second step came easily. The third even more so. And when I reached the gate of the house, something inside me shifted in a way I will never forget. I breathed. Not a sigh. Not just air. I breathed like someone returning to life. Like someone claiming herself for the very first time. The street was empty. The world seemed quiet. And yet, everything inside me was screaming, "You did it." I looked up at the sky, at the few stars that managed to pierce the darkness. And I felt a kind of gratitude so deep my eyes filled with tears, but different tears. Not tears of fear, not tears of pain, tears of return. And there, on that cold sidewalk, I understood. Courage doesn't speak loudly, it speaks firmly. It doesn't scream, it holds, it doesn't push. It guides, and that night, it guided me out the door and back into myself. I started walking without looking back, because looking back would have meant trying to re-enter a life that was no longer mine. The sound of my footsteps echoed softly in the quiet street, and each echo seemed to say, "You left, you survived, you came back to yourself, and in the end, this was always the path." If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel to continue walking with me, and make sure to watch the next video where the next section or the next series begins, and we explore what happens after freedom finally starts.